This is gnocchi, a delicious little dumpling made up of mashed potatoes that has taken the world by storm.
What are you looking for?
Gnocchi.
A what?
Little potato morsels.
Gnocchi?
Yes!
Today you can find these little packed clouds in just about any grocery store. But what is gnocchi? Should we find out?
What's the word for yes in Italian?
Hello everyone, my name is Gabriela and I'm a Bright Trip contributor. Today we're gonna talk about gnocchi's history and how to make it from scratch. For 2 servings, we need 4 medium potatoes, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 egg, 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of butter, and a bunch of sage leaf. I didn't have sage leaves, so I just used ground sage instead. So I'm gonna put the potatoes to boil while we talk. The potatoes will boil from 20 to 25 minutes or until a fork can easily pierce them. Gnocchi comes from the term gnocco, which means dumpling. But if you go to a restaurant or look for it in your local market, you can find it among pasta. The Encyclopedia of Pasta, written by Oretta Zanini de Vita, tells us that gnocchi was originally a Germanic word describing its distinctive shape. Gnocchi was originally from Middle East, but when the Romans explored the area, they took back the gnocchi recipe with them. Recipes of gnocchi have been documented back to the 1300s. That's a long time. In Roman times, gnocchi was made from semolina porridge-like dough. Back in the 50th century, gnocchi made from bread, milk, and almonds was called sanzarelli. Bartolomeo Scappi has a recipe for gnocchi made from a dough of flour, breadcrumbs, and water, and then pushed through the holes of a cheese grater. A little later, egg flour were added to the recipe, which became known as malfatti. The word means badly made. I wonder why is that? That looks pretty malfatti. This is still the names that Tuscans applied to their ricotta dumplings in Gnudi. In the 19th century, Pellegrino Artusi, the grandfather of Italian cuisine, published a gnocchi recipe that was prepared just the way we do it now. Now we're gonna smash our potatoes and add a little bit of salt and pepper. So Pellegrino Artusi first shaped his gnocchis into pinky-sized form and rolled them in the back of a cheese grater for texture. This texture, whether it's created with a fork or with a wooden implement, help give otherwise plain dumplings little nooks and crannies so we can have full flavor in every bite. Now we're gonna make a hole in the middle of our potatoes, crack an egg and mix it. Like many Italian dishes, gnocchi has a lot of variations throughout Italy. Here are some of them. In Lombardy, you might find the gnocchis just tossed into a cheesy, creamy sauce. In Venice, you might find macaroni, which are baked in the oven with cheese, like mac and cheese. Still further south in the coast of Sorrento, we have gnocchi alla sorrentina, which is baked in the oven with a bright tomato sauce and mozzarella cheese. Typical of Piedmont is gnocchi al castelmagno, which is gnocchi with cheese inside of the dough. That sounds yummy. I will now put 1 cup of flour onto a clean surface and turn out the potato dough onto it. Working quickly and carefully, knead the dough, only incorporating as much flour as you need along the way until the dough loses stickiness and becomes more solid. Slice the dough into 4 parts. Roll out 1 part into a long rope. Slice the rope into squares and set aside on a lightly floured surface. Quick tip. Put your gnocchi into some wax paper separately so that it doesn't stick. Because the first time I made gnocchi, I put my little finished gnocchis into a bowl. They look pretty malfatti. Now to finish the gnocchi, we shape it. Grab a fork and roll it softly in it. Now here is the most interesting thing I found out about gnocchi. There's a city that has a carnival and parade dedicated to gnocchi. The Bacchanale degli Gnocchi includes the entire Veronese population in a lively way and has its climax in the parade on the last Friday before Lent. The festival has its origins in the 1530s, after a terrible famine caused by the Adige River. It was an uprising of the people against the bakers in order to get flour and dough. Some honest citizens, like Dr. Tommaso Lavico, were chosen so that they could feed the population, and he fed them out of his own pocket. So bread, wine, flour, cheese, butter, and of course, a flour equivalent to gnocchi were distributed in the Piazza San Zeno, in the district of the city. This gnocchi then turned into the gnocchi we know today. This man who lived in a street in the neighborhood left a legacy in his will so that every Friday these people would get food. So in his honor they have El Papa del Gnocco, which is actually an elected person. So once they vote for him, this man gets to sit in a mule and hold a large golden fork with a gnocchi in it. Did I say that he sits in a mule? So he goes in the parade, and at the end of the parade he gets to distribute gnocchi to the citizen in the Piazza San Zeno, just like before. A plate of gnocchi with butter and sage is called Venerdì Gnoccolar, which means Friday gnocchi. This is the gnocchi that they distributed to the people after the parade. And this is the gnocchi we're making. This year they celebrated their 491st Papa del Gnocco. Finally, we're gonna bring a large pot of salted water to a boil and add the gnocchi in batches. We don't want to add it all at once. After that, in a pan over medium heat, melt butter and add the sage. Add the gnocchi and toss till it's lightly golden. And last step, enjoy. So there is a Roman saying that says, "Ridi, ridi, ce la mamma fatto i gnocchi," which means laugh, laugh, that Mo made the gnocchi. I wish it were something very emotional like the joy of food, but this only refers to a grammatical mistake. The point is, we can see that gnocchi is clearly part of Italian culture. Now, what is the most authentic gnocchi, or where can you find it? There isn't just one, you can decide. Explore flavors and cooking times. Which is your favorite gnocchi? Comment down below. And if you like traveling, visuals, and learning from a good source, make sure you visit www.brighttrip.com and learn to travel smarter.